What if I told you that one of the most famous men in the world was once almost completely forgotten? What if I told you that the same man who stood on the biggest stages in front of millions of people also sat alone with fear, debt, and public shame? Today, this is not a political story. This is not a debate. This is a human story, told slowly, clearly, and simply to help you learn English through emotion and real life. His name is Donald Trump. Some people see success. Others see failure. Some see power. Others see controversy. But behind all of that, there is a story of rise and fall, a story of confidence and doubt, a story of winning big and losing even bigger. And as you listen, I want you to think about your own life, because learning English is also a rise and fall. Sometimes you feel confident, you speak clearly, you feel proud, but sometimes you forget words, you feel shy, you feel like giving up. Yet you continue. Just like life, language is not a straight line. It goes up, it goes down, and then it goes up again. In this story, you will hear simple English, clear sentences, and real emotions. You will learn how to talk about success, failure, dreams, and fear in a calm, natural way. So listen slowly. Breathe. You do not need to understand every word. You only need to feel the story. Because this is not just Donald Trump's story, it is also your story. A story of trying, a story of falling, a story of standing up again and speaking with confidence. Listen carefully. Here is a small question for you. How would you describe success in English? Take a moment. Think about the words. Now, let the story begin. Donald Trump was born on June 14, 1946, in a large city called New York. New York was loud, busy, full of tall buildings, fast people, and big dreams. He did not grow up in a poor family. His father, Fred Trump, was a successful real estate businessman. He built houses and apartments. He understood money, buildings, and deals. Donald's mother, Mary, was calm and caring. She was born in Scotland and moved to America later in life. She believed in manners, appearance, and polite behavior. So from a very young age, Donald lived between two strong influences. From his father, he learned to be strong, competitive, and ambitious. From his mother, he learned to care about image, confidence, and how people see you. As a child, Donald was very energetic. He talked a lot. He asked many questions. He liked to win. But he was also difficult. Teachers said he was not easy to control. He did not like rules. Because of this, his parents sent him to a military school when he was only 13 years old. Military school was strict, very strict. Every day had rules. Every minute had a plan. There was no freedom. At first, Donald did not like it. He felt angry. He felt controlled. But slowly, something changed. He learned discipline. He learned to compete. He learned how to be strong in difficult situations. Let us pause for a moment and learn a few words from this part of the story. Ambitious, someone who strongly wants success. Confident, believing in yourself. Strict, having strong rules.
Donald was ambitious even as a young boy. He was confident, sometimes too confident, and his life became strict at military school. After finishing school, Donald went to university. He studied economics and business. He wanted to understand money. He wanted to understand power. But more than anything, he wanted to be different from his father. His father was successful, yes, but Donald did not want to stay in his shadow. He wanted more. Bigger buildings, bigger deals, bigger attention. Inside him, a strong idea was growing. I will not be small, he thought. I will be big. This mindset, this way of thinking, started very early in his life. And this is important for you as an English learner, because mindset matters. When you say, I can't speak English, your mind listens. But when you say, I am learning English, your mind starts to grow. Donald's childhood was not perfect, but it was shaping him. Every rule, every challenge, every competition, they were building something inside him. Now take a quiet moment and think. What words would you use to describe your childhood in English? Just 1 or 2 words is enough.
When Donald Trump finished his studies, he stood at the beginning of adult life. This was the moment when dreams become plans. He looked at his father's business. He saw apartments. He saw buildings in small areas. But Donald wanted something else. He did not want to build quiet houses. He wanted tall towers. He wanted bright lights. He wanted his name to be seen and remembered. Inside his mind, a clear dream was forming. I want to be the best, he thought. I want people to know my name. I want to build something great. This was not just about money. It was about identity. He wanted to prove something to his father, to the city, and to himself. Donald decided to move into real estate in Manhattan, the heart of New York City. This was a risky decision. Manhattan was expensive, competitive, full of powerful people. Many young men were afraid to try, but Donald was not afraid. Or maybe he was afraid, but he acted anyway. That is an important lesson. Courage does not mean no fear. Courage means moving with fear. As he walked through the city, he imagined his future. Tall buildings with glass walls, people talking about his deals, newspapers writing his name. He dreamed of success every day. Let us pause and focus on dream language in English. When we talk about dreams, we often use simple and clear sentences. I want to become. Example, I want to become fluent in English. My dream is to. Example, my dream is to travel and speak confidently. One day I hope to. Example, one day I hope to speak English without fear. Donald used this kind of language inside his mind. I want to become famous. My dream is to build something great. One day I hope people will know my name. These sentences are simple, but they are powerful. Donald's first big dream was not safe. It was not easy. It was risky. But dreams are often like that. If your dream feels too comfortable, maybe it is too small. Donald started working day and night. He talked to bankers. He talked to builders. He talked to powerful people. Sometimes they listened. Sometimes they laughed. But he did not stop. Because when a dream is strong, rejection becomes fuel. This stage of his life was full of hope, hunger, and confidence. And this is also a stage many English learners understand. You start with hope. You want to speak well. You imagine your future self. That dream pushes you forward. So now, pause again. Say one sentence out loud, slowly. My dream is to. Even if you are alone, even if your voice is quiet, your dream matters. Donald Trump's dream did not stay only in his mind. Slowly, step by step, it began to take shape in the real world. In the early years, he worked very hard. He made phone calls. He visited offices. He spoke to people who were older, richer, and more powerful than him. Many doors were closed, but some doors opened. One of the biggest moments in his early career came when he worked on a large project in New York City. This project helped him become visible. People started to notice him. They said, "Who is this young man? He is confident. He speaks boldly." Donald understood something very important. In business, image matters. He did not only sell buildings, he sold a name. That name was Trump. Soon he built one of his most famous projects, Trump Tower. It was tall, it was shiny, it was right in the center of Manhattan. When people walked past it, they saw his name in big gold letters. This was not an accident, it was a message. I am here, the building seemed to say. I am successful. Let us learn a few success words from this part of the story. Success, achieving what you want. Deal, an agreement in business. Brand, a name people recognize. Reputation, what people think about you. Influence, the power to affect others. Donald Trump's brand was growing. His reputation was becoming stronger. His influence was expanding. Newspapers wrote about him. Magazines showed his face. People talked about his deals. He had become famous. At this stage of his life, we can use the present perfect tense to describe his achievements. For example, he has built famous buildings. He has become a well-known businessman. He has created a strong brand. Listen to how this tense sounds. It connects the past to the present. Donald had worked for many years, and now the results were visible. Money came, attention came, power came. But success also brings something else: pressure. When people expect you to win every time, failure becomes louder. Donald appeared confident in public. He spoke strongly. He smiled for cameras. Inside, he had to keep moving forward. Bigger projects, bigger risks, bigger promises. This part of his life felt like a montage. Fast moments, bright lights, short headlines, success after success. And from the outside, it looked perfect. Now let us pause for a small speaking exercise. Speaking practice. Pause the audio for a moment. Take a breath. Say one simple sentence in English. One achievement I am proud of is. It can be small, it can be personal. Learning English is also an achievement. Donald Trump's rise to power and fame did not happen in one day. It happened through many actions, many risks, and many strong beliefs. At this point in his life, he felt unstoppable. But life has a way of testing even the strongest people, and soon the story begins to change. On the outside, Donald Trump looked calm, strong, and successful. He wore expensive suits. He spoke with confidence. He smiled for cameras. People saw a winner. But inside, the story was more complicated. Success creates expectations, and expectations create pressure. Every new building had to be bigger than the last one. Every deal had to be better. Every move had to look perfect. Donald was now living in two worlds. On the outside, he was a powerful businessman. On the inside, he carried stress, worry, and fear of failure. This is something many people understand. You may look confident when speaking English in front of others, but inside you may feel nervous. That contrast is human. Let us look at some contrast structures in English. On the outside, but inside. On the outside, he looked confident, but inside he felt pressure. Although he was famous, he felt stress. He seemed successful, yet he was worried. These sentences help us explain two different realities. Donald's public image was carefully controlled. He wanted people to believe in his success because belief creates power. But behind closed doors, business was not always easy. Money was moving fast, loans were large, risks were high. One bad decision could change everything. At night, when the lights were off, he had to think, what if this fails? What if people stop believing? This pressure did not make him weak, but it made him human. And here is an important English learning tip. When you speak English, you do not need to sound perfect. You only need to sound honest. You can say, I am learning, but I still make mistakes. Although English is hard, I enjoy it. Simple sentences, real feelings. Donald continued moving forward, even with stress, because stopping was not an option. But life was preparing a bigger test, a moment when image could no longer hide reality. Take a quiet pause now. Think of one sentence about your life using contrast. For example, on the outside, I look calm, but inside, I feel nervous. Say it slowly. This skill, expressing contrast, will help you tell your story in English. And now, the story moves into a darker chapter. Success can feel like a strong wind behind your back. It pushes you forward. It makes you feel powerful. But sometimes, the wind changes direction. For Donald Trump, that moment came in the late 1980s and early 1990s. He had grown fast, too fast. He had built many big projects. He had borrowed large amounts of money. Banks trusted him because of his name and image. But when the economy changed, everything slowed down. Buildings stopped making money. Costs stayed high. Debts became heavy, very heavy. Donald Trump was now facing failure. Let us pause and learn a few important words. Failure, when something does not succeed. Debt, money you must pay back. Pressure, stress from responsibility. Criticism, negative opinions from others. During this time, Donald was under huge pressure. He was losing money. He was losing control. And worst of all, he was losing his image. Newspapers that once praised him now criticized him. They wrote headlines like, "Trump is in trouble. Trump's empire is falling." People talked. People judged. This was not happening in one day. It was happening over time. This is where English learners can learn an important grammar idea. We often use past continuous plus past simple to describe this kind of situation. For example, he was building many projects when the economy changed. He was borrowing money while problems were growing. The past continuous shows a long action. The past simple shows something that interrupts it. Donald was moving forward when suddenly life stopped him. At night, he felt the weight of his decisions. He was not sleeping well. He was thinking constantly, what if I lose everything? What if my name means failure? This kind of fear is quiet. It does not shout. It sits with you.
And this is something many people understand. Maybe you failed an exam. Maybe you could not speak English when you wanted to. Maybe someone laughed. Failure hurts. But here is the most important lesson. Failure is not the end of the story. Donald did not hide forever. He faced his problems. He talked to banks. He renegotiated deals. He lost some businesses. Yes, he fell, but he did not disappear. This is how we can talk about failure without shame in English. I failed, but I learned from it. That experience taught me something important. I made mistakes and I am growing. These sentences are powerful. They turn pain into progress. Donald Trump's fall was public, very public. Everyone could see it. And yet, this chapter did not end his life story. It changed it. So now, take a moment. Think about one small failure in your life. Say one sentence in English. I failed, but... Say it slowly. Say it kindly. Because failure is not weakness. It is part of every real journey. And now, the story moves towards something unexpected.
After failure, many people choose silence. They step back. They disappear. But Donald Trump chose something different. He chose reinvention. Reinvention means starting again, not as the same person, but as a changed person. Donald understood one important truth. If one path is closed, you must look for another. He had lost money, he had lost control of some businesses, but he had not lost his voice. And his voice was strong. Instead of only focusing on real estate, he turned to media, television, interviews, public speaking. People still recognized his name, so he used that recognition. This decision led to a new chapter in his life, a TV show called The Apprentice. On this show, Donald played the role of a strong boss. He judged people, he made decisions, he spoke clearly and confidently. And one famous sentence became part of popular culture: "You're fired." The show was a success. Millions of people watched it. They saw him not as a failed businessman, but as a confident leader. This is very important. Sometimes reality changes slowly, but perception can change quickly. Donald was rebuilding his image. He was not hiding from his past, he was reshaping it. Let us focus on comeback language in English. When you want to talk about starting again, you can say, I decided to try again. I did not give up. I learned from my past mistakes. These sentences show strength, not weakness. Donald could have said, I failed, so I will stop. But instead, his actions said, I failed, so I will adapt. This is also true for learning English. Maybe you stopped before. Maybe you felt tired. Maybe you lost confidence. But you are here now. That means you did not give up. Donald's reinvention did not erase his past. It stood on top of it. Failure became a lesson. Pain became experience. And slowly, confidence returned. Not the same confidence as before, but a deeper one. Because confidence after failure is stronger. So now pause for a moment. Say this sentence slowly in English. I decided to try again. Say it like you mean it. Because every English learner has this moment, a moment of return. And now the story moves toward a very different kind of power. For most of his life, Donald Trump was known as a businessman and a media figure. People talked about his buildings. They talked about his TV show. They talked about his personality. But then something unexpected happened. He decided to enter politics. For many people, this decision was surprising. Some laughed. Some doubted him. Some were curious. Politics is very different from business. In business, success is often about money and deals. In politics, success is about people, opinions, and trust. Donald announced that he wanted to become the President of the United States. The reaction was strong. Some people supported him. Some people strongly disagreed. Some people felt confused. This part of the story is important, but we will talk about it carefully and neutrally. Because the goal here is not to change opinions. The goal is to learn English through real events. When Donald spoke at events, people listened closely. The media reported his words every day. This is a good moment to learn about reporting speech in English. Instead of repeating exact words, we often say, "He said that he wanted change." He explained that he was different from others. People reported that his style was unusual. Notice how calm and neutral these sentences sound. Donald's political rise was fast, very fast. He spoke in simple language. He repeated strong messages. He connected with many people who felt unheard. Again, this is not about agreeing or disagreeing. It is about understanding communication. Simple language is powerful. That is also why you are listening to this story in simple English. During the election period, emotions were high. People argued. Families disagreed. Friends stopped talking. And yet, Donald Trump won the election. He became president. This was a new kind of power. Not buildings, not TV shows, but leadership over a country. Let us pause for a listening skill tip. When listening to news, debates, or strong opinions in English, try to listen without emotion. Focus on the words, not the feelings. Ask yourself, what is being said? This skill will help you understand English better, especially in difficult topics. Donald's political rise showed one clear thing. Life can change direction at any time. A businessman can become a president. A failed moment can turn into a new beginning. Whether people supported him or not, his story entered history. And history is full of complex humans, not simple heroes or villains. Now take a small pause. In one sentence, practice neutral English. Some people supported him, while others disagreed. Say it slowly. This balance is important in English communication. The story is moving forward. And with great power comes great judgment. After reaching great power, life did not become quiet or easy for Donald Trump. In fact, it became louder, much louder. As president, every word he said was watched. Every action was discussed. Every decision was judged. This is what happens when someone lives in the public eye. Controversy followed him everywhere. The media talked about him every day. Some stories were positive, many stories were negative. Donald Trump was criticized often. He was judged by supporters and opponents. He was discussed all over the world. Here, we are using the passive voice in English. Listen carefully. He was criticized. He was judged. He was questioned. In the passive voice, the focus is not on who did something, but on what happened. This is very common in news and media English. Let us look at one example. Active. People criticized him. Passive. He was criticized. The passive voice sounds more neutral and formal. During this period, Donald faced many difficult moments. Public trust changed. Support became division. His image became unclear. Some people felt disappointed. Others felt angry. Many felt tired of conflict. And then came a moment that marked a strong fall. He lost political power. After years in the spotlight, he stepped away from the position that once defined him. This kind of fall is not only about losing a job, it is about losing identity. When you are known for one role and that role ends, the silence can be heavy. Donald Trump's life entered another uncertain chapter. Public judgment continued, opinions remained divided, and once again the world was watching. This part of the story reminds us of something important. No success is permanent. No failure is final. Life moves in cycles. Now, let us connect this moment to your life. Everyone faces judgment at some point. Maybe someone laughed at your English. Maybe someone corrected you in a hard way. Maybe you felt embarrassed. That feeling is universal. So here is a gentle reflection question for you. How would you describe a difficult time in your life in English? You can start with, "It was a hard time when I felt judged because I learned something important during that time." Say one sentence quietly to yourself. Your words matter. And now, the story moves to its most important part, the meaning behind everything. Donald Trump's story is not just about buildings, money, or politics. It is about life lessons. Lessons we can all learn, especially as English learners. The first lesson is simple. Success is not permanent. You can rise quickly. You can shine brightly. But life can change in an instant. That means we must stay humble and keep learning, no matter how much we have achieved. The second lesson, failure is not the end. Donald faced debt, criticism, and public shame, yet he did not disappear. He adapted, he tried again, he reinvented himself. This teaches us to embrace mistakes. Every error is an opportunity to grow, both in life and in English. The third lesson, communication changes everything. Donald's words built towers. His words built influence. His words changed opinions. When he spoke clearly and boldly, people listened. When he failed to communicate well, problems grew. For English learners, this is crucial. Your words are powerful. Even small sentences, even simple words, they allow you to express your dreams, hopes, and feelings. Let's practice some ways to express lessons and opinions in English. I believe that. Example, I believe that learning English takes patience. In my opinion. Example, in my opinion, mistakes are part of learning. What I learned is that. Example, what I learned is that courage comes from trying again. Notice how simple, clear sentences can carry strong meaning. Donald's story shows a cycle: ambition, success, pressure, failure, reinvention, new paths, lessons. Your journey in English is similar: learning words, speaking, mistakes, correction, growth, confidence. This story also teaches resilience. No matter how public the failure or how big the challenge, you can always choose to continue. So, here is a gentle advice for you. When you feel shy, stuck, or afraid while speaking English, remember, success is not permanent, failure is not the end, and words can change everything. Donald's life may be unique, but his lessons are universal. And your English journey, it is a story still being written, just like his life. Now, take a moment. Think of one lesson from your own life. Say it in English. What I learned is that. Even a small sentence counts. Even a quiet voice matters. Your journey is real. Your story is powerful. And English is the bridge that allows you to tell it. Now let us finish this story. Slowly and gently. Donald Trump's life has been full of highs and lows. He has experienced success, failure, reinvention, and controversy. And yet, the most important part of his journey is what we can learn from it. Life is a story. Your life, my life, Donald Trump's life. Every day we make choices, we take risks, we speak words, some simple, some powerful. Every step shapes your story. English is the same. Every word you speak shapes your story. Every sentence you write builds your voice. Every time you practice, you grow, slowly, step by step. So remember, success is not permanent. Failure is not the end. Words can change your world. Even if you feel shy or nervous, keep speaking. Even if you make mistakes, keep writing. Even if learning feels hard, keep listening. Because your story is still being written, and English is the language that will help you tell it beautifully. Here is a simple reminder for you. Take one word today and use it in a sentence. Say it out loud. Smile. Celebrate every small step, every word, every sentence. Donald's story teaches us that life is full of ups and downs, but we continue, we adapt, we grow. And that is exactly what you are doing with English. Your journey is real. Your effort is meaningful. Your story is powerful. So breathe, smile, and say to yourself, I am learning. I am growing. My story is still being written. Keep moving forward. Every word counts. Every sentence matters. Every day, you become a stronger English speaker, just like a story that unfolds, slowly but beautifully. Your story is yours. Your words are your power, and your English journey is just beginning.